Hello and welcome to class number 6 in our 10-class Breathwork and Lymphatic Wellness series. This class is going to be focused on holding our breath, and that's why we have kind of a little pause sign behind the opening screen. So let's get right into these breathwork practices. So who am I? I'm a lymphedema therapist. I'm board certified in therapeutic massage and bodywork. I'm also a health coach, a yoga teacher, and the author of Stress Reduction for Lymphedema, as well as Mindful Strategies for Adults with Adverse Childhood Experiences. So what are we going to explore in our class today? We are going to learn about the effect of breath holding on both our brain and our nervous system. And we're going to experience different types of Kumbhaka breath holding through staircase breathing, mini breath holds, and Kapalbhati breathing. So like we start all of our classes, we'll start with a mindful moment. So I'll invite you to sit in a dignified yet relaxed position. Your eyes can be open or closed. And I'll invite you to take some nice nourishing breaths and think about what comes to mind when you think about holding the breath, doing this more advanced type of breath work, pranayama, coming to us from the India, from the yogic tradition of holding our breath and what it could be doing that's positive for our bodies. And do you have some like curiosity and maybe confusion because a lot of what we hear just in our popular culture is that holding the breath is bad. And routinely finding ourselves holding our breath can have negative impacts for our body. It can be a sense of show that we may be anxious. But this is specific breath holding that's part of a breathwork practice. So it's very intentional. And what questions might you have about these practices? And who might really want to learn about these types of pranayama practices? Today's class is definitely for my yogis, for my people who have a strong background and history in yoga. And like we do each of our mindful moments, we'll start with a minute of 5-5 breathing. So we'll inhale for the count of 5, exhale for the count of 5. I'll keep the time. We'll be doing it for about a minute. And as we usually do, we'll start with a nice exhale. Inhale. And 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 exhale. Last inhale. And the last exhale. So I'll invite you to let go of that way of breathing, and we'll start with some range of motion. So I'll invite you to inhale as you look up and exhale as you look down. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, looking down. Inhale, look up. And exhale, look down. Return the head to neutral. Inhale, look left. Exhale, look to the right. Inhale to the left. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the left. And exhale to the right. Return to a neutral position, the left ear to the left shoulder. And right ear to right shoulder. Left ear to left shoulder. Right ear to right shoulder. And left ear to the left shoulder. And back to the right shoulder. And then come back to a neutral position with the head. The fingertips come to the shoulders, shoulder rolls up and back. Really get curious about your range of motion today. You can touch your elbows at the front if you'd like. Really moving that shoulder. We'll do one more and then we'll come to the opposite directions. Shoulder roll in the opposite direction. Okay, and last one, stretching and relax. So these cautions are very, very important for today. We're going to get into some serious pranayama, very traditional form of breathing that comes to us from India. If you, for any reason, think that this is not for you, you should really get checked out by your physician first. You can watch the entire video. You do not have to do any of the breath work, especially the very intense breath work we'll do towards the end. You can get all the information from all the research without doing any of the breath work. And please do not do the advanced type of breath work if you have any symptoms that you think would be in contrast to successfully doing breath work. If you tend to feel anxiety, if you have breathing problems, cardiovascular blood pressure issues, any other issue, definitely you can watch the video and not do the breath work. It will always be here. It will always be free. And go ahead and get the approval of your physician before you go ahead and do this breath work. And even if you're doing fine, even if yesterday and for years and for months you've done all this breath work, it's good to stop doing the breath work today practice. If you feel anxiety in the middle of doing breath work, lightheaded or dizziness, rapid heartbeat, short of breath, you can stop immediately and then listen to the rest of the presentation. You can stop the video entirely and just do it on a different day. You don't have to power through. It's actually not beneficial to power through any of this breath work. This is not the type of breath work that we're looking at in this series. And are you ready to sit up and do the breath work? I mentioned it before. We see research that shows that actually lying down as you do breath work is more beneficial, or actually has proof of benefit to the lymphatic system. So it's only an ego thing to sit and do breath work when you could lie down and do breath work and actually feel better when you're doing it. So our ego is not in control. If you are normally breathing 10 breaths a minute and you feel any symptom when you cut the breathing down to 7 breaths a minute, when you cut it down by a third, then you are not ready to sit up and do breath work, especially an intense practice like we're going to get to today. And where and how do you practice pranayama? Pranayama is started once the yogi has a solid practice of yoga. It should be done with an empty stomach and then go to the bathroom, empty bowel, empty bladder. And the empty stomach it can be very uncomfortable to do intense breath work when you have food in your stomach. And for the type of breath work where you can breathe into the nose, it's best to focus on nose breathing. And we see this in research, some of the benefits of nose breathing we have seen in this class. So let's look again. What are the 4 parts of pranayama? I use a Sanskrit word because these breath work practices come to us from India. They come to us from the tradition of yoga. Pranayama practices they include 4 important aspects of breathing. So they're looking and separating out the breathing into 4 aspects and doing the change in the pranayama according to each of the 4 aspects. So inhalation, exhalation, and then we're going to look at breath retention today. And there's 2 types of breath retention, both internal breath retention. So you inhale and then you hold it and your lungs are full, and external breath retention, which is you exhale, your lungs are relatively empty, and then you hold after the exhale before your next inhale. So those are the 4 types of breathing, the 4 parts of breathing. So let's look at first culturally, when do we hold our breath? Because we do naturally hold our breath in regular daily activities. And I just did this a couple minutes ago. It's very interesting how it's hard for me to do mascara without my mouth being open and me stopping the breath. If there's any kind of really attention to detail, and I really have to focus and do some very specific like hand-eye coordination, I tend to see myself hold my breath, and I think a lot of other people do that as well. Another really great example, trying to thread a needle. Literally, it's this very minute hand-eye coordination, and we kind of find ourselves stopping our inhalation and completely focusing on that one task that it is at hand. So let's look at some preparatory, because the ability to hold the breath is different from person to person, and it's different in the same person week over week. So when you are more strong, when your lung capacity is greater, when you're have exercised and you're healthier and you're stronger, you may notice a difference in your ability of the length of how long it is comfortable to hold your breath. And this can definitely be trained with specific breath training, as well as with just cardiovascular training in general. So we're going to do this to get the baseline for you for today. And we're going to test our ability to hold the breath with something called the controlled pause. So I'll invite you to sit with a straight back and relax. Don't do this right after you've had exercise. And I'll invite you to pinch your nostrils and exhale naturally, and then measure the time from the exhale until the first real desire to inhale with a stopwatch, like on your phone. And if you have to run and get your phone, you can definitely pause this video and come back. So we're exhaling naturally, our nostrils are pinched, and we're measuring the time from the exhale until this first real desire to inhale comes in. And then when that desire comes in, look at how many seconds has elapsed. Inhale naturally. So when you inhale, it's like, then you've waited too long. You've ignored your body's signals, and go ahead and try again at a later time and really feel that first important signal, but not completely urgent, like you are stuck somewhere and that's going to give you a gasp. So that number, remember, write it down somewhere, because we're going to use that number later. So you will customize your time of exhale. But first, let's look at some research on breath holding and the brain. So this is a really interesting study. And the researchers found that breath holding, an essential part of pranayama, is shown to induce theta waves in the brain. So these are brain waves. And they showed that a decrease in breathing frequency can increase synchronization of brain waves, eliciting delta wave activity. Breathing also and breath holding has an impact on the body's nervous system. So this is a nice graphic of the nervous system. You don't need to memorize or really look at where each nerve is in the labels. It's just a nice graphic to remind you we're talking about the nervous system. And the researchers had found that some have proposed that pranayama alters the autonomic responses to breath holding, perhaps by increasing the vagal tone and decreasing sympathetic discharges. So our holding the breath may have an effect on the vagus nerve and also decreasing the sympathetic nervous charges. So it's increasing parasympathetic as you decrease the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight nervous system. And I like this picture of the person balancing on the yoga mat because we're talking about balance in our autonomic nervous system. So nervous system balance. It has been suggested that pranayama balances the autonomic nervous system through stretch-induced inhibitory signals of abdominal muscles, specifically the diaphragm and even nerve endings in the nose. And they say it is abundantly evident that respiration and the parasympathetic response are intricately connected. So I know this in practice. When I change the way I breathe, I can change the way my nervous system is telling me. I can change the way I feel, whether I'm into fight or flight or in more of a restful position. But what I really, really got excited as a massage therapist, as someone who likes exercise and a personal trainer and health coach, is they're talking about stretch-induced signals and specifically in abdominal muscles and the diaphragm. So when we inhale and then we hold that inhale, the diaphragm is stretching. So we're stretching internally in our body, and then the body is responding to us, stretching our diaphragm, stretching these muscles. So let's look more deeply into this because the lady that made the class is interested in it. So we're all going to learn about it. Breath holding and tissue stretch. These researchers say slow pranayamic breathing generates inhibitory signals and hyperpolarizing currents within neural and non-neural tissue by mechanically stretching the tissues during breath inhalation and retention. So this is just more research, more researchers looking at this, that this stretching of the tissues is affecting both neural and non-neural tissue in the body. So what about breath holding after inhalation? More research on this. And this researcher cites another study that defines this kumbhaka, the specific type of pranayama breath holding, the breath retention after inhaling. So you inhale and you hold it, and argued that this technique increases carbon dioxide, which we know is good. It increases carbon dioxide levels and consequently leads to vasodilation. So that's opening up the blood vessels and increased cerebral blood flow. So fantastic. All these benefits that these researchers are saying just from holding the breath after inhalation. So let's start a short breathwork practice. It will be 5 minutes. I'll guide us through it. And it's called a staircase breathing. Again, these breathwork practices are from the yoga and Indian tradition. And it's called Viloma Pranayama or staircase breathing. You can look, if you want to look more at it and do your research on it. So we'll start by sitting comfortably with a straight spine. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And what we're going to do is inhale through the nose for 2 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, inhale for 2 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, inhale for 2 seconds, hold. And by the time you've done 3 inhales, you'll have a pretty full lungs full of air. So hold the breath with that full lungs for the last 2 seconds, and then we'll exhale comfortably through the nose. So I'll guide you through the 3 inhales. So I'll say inhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, and then start it over again. And I'll also keep the time. So we'll do it for 5 minutes total. And again, anytime this is too much for you, just stop the practice and breathe normally, these videos will always be here. So I'll have us go ahead and start by exhaling. And then inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale, hold at the top, and then exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale, hold at the top, and exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale, really up to the top, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale, hold at the top, and exhale. We're about halfway through. Inhale, hold, inhale, hold, inhale up to the top, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale, and hold. Inhale to the top and hold, and exhale. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold at the top, and exhale. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold, and exhale. We have 1 minute left. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold, and exhale. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Inhale at the top, hold, and exhale. Last one, inhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Inhale and hold. And a nice long exhale. And we're done. We can let that practice go. Breathe naturally. And we'll take just a minute for you to feel the effect of that breathwork practice in your body. It's a rather short one. It's one that you can do in public and no one knows you're doing it, not unlike some of the others that we'll do today. And think about who might really benefit from trying this. Who would think it was fun and who would think it was valuable? And let me know how it felt for you in the comments after we finish this video. So let's learn a little bit about breath holding after the exhalation. So this is you exhale, your lungs are relatively empty, and then you hold after the exhale. So breath retention after exhalation has been found to increase parasympathetic activity, so that rest and digest activity. And I put a little bit of an image of an American service person here because a famous type of breathing is used in the American military called box breathing, and the soldiers will use this to bring focus. And that's a type of breathing where you inhale and you hold and you exhale and you hold. And then also, if a soldier really needs to have perfect focus, they will do the activity after they exhale at that bottom of the exhale before inhaling again. So let's try this. It's called the controlled pause. It's from a Buteyko method. And there's a fantastic book on Buteyko method. There's a lot of videos on Buteyko method of breath work. But this one that we're going to do today, we're going to use that number that we did in our test earlier in class. So if you were able to hold the breath comfortably for 15 seconds, then you would hold the breath for half of the time for that in this controlled pause breath. So you would hold the breath for 7 seconds. So what we're going to do is inhale through the nose and exhale naturally. And then after the exhale, hold the breath for half of the number of seconds that you could in the first experiment that we did earlier in class. And everyone is going to have a different time that they're going to do this, but I'll have us just do it for 2 minutes and see how these mini breath holds feel to you. I think I remember if you are into this breathwork practice, they kind of say, if this works for you and it's beneficial to you, like you can do it anytime, anywhere, all the time, many times a day. So, but it would definitely be, if this is intriguing to you and you find value from this breathwork, definitely look more into Buteyko breathwork. So I'll keep the time for 2 minutes and I'll invite you to inhale through the nose, exhale, and then hold the breath for your own personalized time. We'll do it for 2 minutes and I'll let us start now. Okay, and that was 2 minutes. So if you come to the end of this next breath, let it be your last one. And we'll take a minute here, breathe naturally, and think about how this practice felt to you. I like this practice because it's customized for each person, and there's kind of a confidence that you're not holding the breath forever. You're not even holding the breath for long enough to feel any negative aspects of holding the breath or urgency to breathe, because we're cutting it down to a half of our normal time that we would have that urge to breathe. So definitely let me know what you thought of this type of breathing in the comments on the YouTube video. And let's look at some more research on breath work. And this researchers say these two types of kumbhaka, the breath holding that we just practiced, the inhale breath holding as we inhale, breath holding after we exhale, they may lead to a better neuronal adaptation to abnormal situations, since sublethal hypoxic or ischemic events can improve the tolerance for subsequent injury caused by hypoxia or ischemia, what is called respectively hypoxic and ischemic preconditioning. So we are not taking ourselves right to the edge of danger, but experimenting, kind of walking around in this area of breath holding without actually being suffocated is possibly improving our body's ability to handle hypoxic or ischemic events. So I find this very interesting, and I would love to see more research on this type of breath work and breath holding, and perhaps diseases that have hypoxia as part of like the cocktail that makes things go wrong in the body. And one of them that immediately comes to mind is lymphedema. I would love to see if this would have any benefit of doing breath work like this. So let's talk about something I discovered in the wild and then in my own breathwork practices, and something I'm so interested to see in research really spoken about, that what I was feeling in my body with breathwork is actually mirrored in the research, and they have an understanding of it as well. And that is the third type of breath holding, which we did not see in the initial 4 types of breath holding. And because there are actually 3 ways that the breath stops. So the first is the breath stops after we inhale. We practice that with staircase breathing. The second one is the breath stops after we exhale, and then we want to inhale again, but we're stopping that exhale direct to inhale, and we're stopping it with that breath holding after the exhale. And the third type of kumbhaka is when our body neither wants to inhale or exhale, and we just sit here and exist, and the heart beats, and all the body is taking care of itself, and we're aware, and we are fully functioning. We have, our mind and our wits about us, but we're just not breathing. So let's look at this interesting thing that I have experienced, and I want to share possibly with you if you are ready. And this is why I was kind of talking about, make sure you're ready, make sure your doctor knows that you're doing this, make sure this is good for you. Because possibly if you have any eye issues, if you have any issues with raising the blood pressure, if you already have blood pressure issues, this is where I would really caution you and really tell you firmly to talk to your physician before you practice an advanced type of pranayama like this. And this is the type of pranayama that perhaps will give you that experience of not needing to breathe at all. So this last variety of kumbhaka is the aim of all pranayama. That's what these researchers tell us. In this stage, there is no force inside urging us to breathe in or breathe out, and a natural suspension of breath is accomplished. And this may be induced for a short time by a preceding kriya, which we're going to do next, like Kapalbhati. So let's look into what Kapalbhati is. So I'll direct you to sit in a comfortable yet alert position with a straight spine if that works for you. If you want to lie down while you're doing it, that works for you too. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or you can leave them open. And we'll start by taking a few gentle breaths through the nose and invite you to take your hand on your abdomen over the navel. So we're not pushing in. Your hand is just going to feel that this is the part of your body that's moving to know that you're doing this breath work correctly. And then when we do the breath work, we're going to start by inhaling through the nose, and then we're going to exhale forcefully through the nose using your diaphragm. So like, and when you do this, this is different from another type of breathing, a bellows breath, where you're inhaling and exhaling forcefully. That's not this. This is Kapalbhati. We're just exhaling forcefully, and the body is going to take care of the inhale. So as long as we exhale forcefully, the body's going to inhale. That's what the body wants to do. So we're going to inhale naturally. The body's taking care of that. And just exhale forcefully out of the nose. Repeat it around 60 times per minute. You can get more times per minute as you get used to this breath work, or if the abdomen, the diaphragm, the core muscles are more fit, you may see that you can do this faster once you have that muscle memory to do it, if you decide to add this to your practice. After a minute, and I will keep the track for us, place both hands on your thighs and just relax. And if you feel the need to breathe, you can breathe. And then we're kind of trying, it works either way, the benefits of Kapalbhati, but you may find this kumbhaka, this way of your body saying, I have so much oxygen in my system, I don't need to tell the body to breathe anymore. And this is your body doing it, not your brain. So we just watch and wait and we see what happens. And then we're going to repeat it. If you are okay with the first round, you are invited to repeat it for 2 more rounds. And we're going to do another 60 seconds of breathing, 30 seconds of resting, 60 seconds of breathing, 30 seconds of resting. And then at the end, after all 3, take a few deep breaths through the nostril to end the practice. So let me get my timer ready, and go ahead and inhale through the nose, and then exhale forcefully at your pace around 60 times a minute. Okay, it's been a minute. Place both hands on your thighs and relax. We'll start in 5 seconds. We'll start in 10 seconds. Okay, and start. Okay, that's the end of the second round. 30 seconds of relaxation. We'll start our next round in 10 seconds if you'd like to join us, or else you can just relax until the end of our last session. So we'll go ahead and start. Okay, we're done with the practice. Do a 30-second rest. Okay, and take a few deep breaths through the nostrils. That was a lot for under 5 minutes of breath work. So we'll invite you, we'll take a few moments now. Really feel how this practice makes us feel emotionally, physically in our body. I tend to get maybe some pins and needles in the hands and feet, feeling kind of cold. But altogether very peaceful. And I'm much more aware of my surroundings, of the noise around me. Just generally feeling a little bit chill after all that, huh? And let me know how you feel about this practice in the comments after we finish this video. And let's see what the researchers say about what we just did. And if you've had this type of kumbhaka, this type of non-breathing in between the sessions. There are various effects of this kumbhaka, the deep relaxation, lowered metabolic rate, sense of blissfulness, expansiveness, and single thought. And they say it's essentially the same effects as dhyana, which is a stage in the 8 limbs of Patanjali's yoga. So taking all that in, these 3 breathwork practices that we did today, focusing on inhaling and then retaining the breath, exhaling and then retaining the breath, and then doing the breath work that's so intense that we may momentarily suspend the breath for the sake of the body. What did you learn today that really got you curious about the effects of breath work on your body? Were you surprised by some of the science behind this? Which practices do you want to add to your self-care? And which practices do you think someone else would be interested? A loved one, a friend, a patient, a client, in adding to their breathwork practice? And if you look online for Kapalbhati, the traditional texts and traditional thoughts inside of yoga gives it so many benefits. I wanted to focus on just the potential medical reasons why people might find some of these benefits. But it's definitely, it has, I would say, between alternate nostril breathing and Kapalbhati, several of the practices that we look at in today's and this 10 series of classes really have, like, to use what the kids say, they have a lot of riz behind them. They got a lot of riz. They're really beloved in India and the yoga tradition. So I'm very honored as a yoga teacher to be able to share information about them and share them and show some of the potential reasons why breathwork is causing the things that it causes in the body. So I'll invite you to think of any questions that you might still have and any answers that you found in today's class, in our mindful moment at the end of today's class. And if you have questions, if you have comments, in your experiences, I definitely want to hear them. I want to read them in the comments section of the YouTube video that we're watching. And as we begin, so we will end with some 5-5 breathing. We'll do a minute of it, which is 6 breaths, and I'll keep the time and let you know when to inhale and exhale. And as always, we start with a nice exhale and inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Our last inhale. And our last exhale. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, you can find the full free 10-session breathwork and lymphatic wellness class on this YouTube channel. There'll be a playlist. And here are the resources that we looked at in today's presentation. Thank you so much for sharing this opportunity to talk about the benefits of breathwork. Have a good day.